Ziff's Law. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 324 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and fortunately, my voice is better and I also feel better, so we're ready to start with another episode of The Laws That Shape Us. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, remember that liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. Just one click, but they really make the difference. Thank you very much for considering it. Today, we wrap up our mini-series on the laws that shape us with a pattern that explains why a few things seem to soak up most of the attention while everything else trails off into a long, thin tail. Ziff's law says that when you rank things by how often they're chosen or used, the first few always dominate, and then usage falls off roughly like 1 over the rank. The second is about the half of the first, the third about a third, and so on. It first showed up in language, where the most common words do an enormous amount of work, and then thousands upon thousands of rarer words appear only once or twice. The same curve keeps reappearing in city sizes, in website traffic, in songs people stream, in books people buy, a short head where a handful of items are everywhere, followed by a very long tail where almost everything else lives. Once you feel that shape, a lot of everyday experiences suddenly make sense. Open a new corpus of text and the is everywhere, while unusual terms barely register. Check your analytics, and a couple of pages account for a huge share of visits, while the rest fade into tiny silvers. It isn't conspiracy, it's what happens when attention and use concentrate. Some of that comes from simple dynamics like preferential attachment. Popular things get seen more, so they collect even more attention. And some of it comes from the way we navigate choices. We reuse what's familiar, we share what's already in front of us, and we search with terms we already know. The result is that the head keeps pulling away while the tails keep stretching, not vanishing, just growing quieter. That quiet tails matters more than it looks. In languages, those rare words are where nuances lives. They might each appear once, but together they can make up a surprisingly large slice of the vocabulary. If you make things, this law nudges you into 2 directions at once. You respect the head by making sure the obvious choices are excellent, clear, fast, easy to reach, because most people will pass through them. And you respect the tail by making it searchable, linkable, and patiently organized, because someone someday will want that odd title, that precise tool, that quiet page, and the magic is when it's actually there and easy to land on. You can use this lens in your own work without ever drawing a curve. Start by noticing your personal head, the handful of actions, files, or routes you use constantly. Give them pride of place and remove friction until they feel almost automatic. Then look at your tail, the rarely used but valuable items that always seem to take too long to find. They don't need to be front and center, but they do need a reliable path, a single obvious folder, a consistent naming pattern, a link that's been exactly where you look when you need it. If you publish, for example, assume a few pieces will carry most of the reach. Help them succeed, but don't abandon the rest. The tail is where trust is built with specific people who care about specific things, and over time, that trust becomes its own kind of head. As we close this series, that's the thread tying all these laws together. Murphy reminded us to design for the moments when things go wrong. Parkinson showed how time shapes scope. Pareto taught us to spend effort where it returns. Yarki-Dodson helped us find the alert in the middle. Hicks and Fitz turned choice and movement into smoother paths. Weber-Fechner reframed changes as ratios. And finally, Zipf leaves us with a map of attention itself, a towering head and a long living tail, built for both. Make the popular path clean and generous, and make the rare paths discoverable and kind. that was all for today and from the series of The Laws That Shaped Us. Hope you managed to enjoy it. It was quite of a wild ride. Half was done in one part of the globe and the other somewhere else, but we still managed to close it. If you made it so far, thank you very much for listening. As always, feel free to share, comment, subscribe, whatever works for you. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow.